This is 95.3 Business Now.
Oh, welcome back, everyone. Nigeria's headline unemployment figure rose to 5.0% in the third quarter of 2023 from 4.2% in the previous quarter, which illustrates the country's broader economic challenges. According to data from the National Bureau of Statistics, urban areas have a higher unemployment rate of 6.0% compared to the rural areas with 4.0%. So for further insights into how Nigeria can deal with its rising urban and rural unemployment, let's bring in Abdul Kudus Isiaka, an economist and researcher. It's good to have you on the line to the studios this morning, sir. So let me start by asking, what are the factors driving unemployment higher in Nigeria's urban centers such as Lagos, Abuja, Kano, Port Harcourt, and elsewhere?
Right. Thank you once again for having me. Essentially, the legacy structural supply bottleneck issues that have always been there, from cost of inputs, fuel prices, logistical and transportation issues, even insecurity, all feed into what we are seeing. Of course, before I go ahead, it's important to mention that unemployment rate put at 5% is very, very generous. The reality is, if we use the former methodology and we look at the number of people who are employed in jobs that is less than 8 hours per day or less than 40 hours per day, then we're looking at something much more realistic, something around 17.3%. But whatever the case may be, it's obvious that issues, as I mentioned, supply bottleneck issues are very, very much responsible for what we're seeing in terms of unemployment. Multiple tools, multiple taxes, often collected by non-state actors, also play a part in unemployment. It also hasn't helped that towards the end of last year, we saw fuel prices rising. Of course, those on the back of the both the Naira devaluation policy as well as the subsidy removal, all of which fed into the cost profile of many small businesses as well as even medium-sized businesses. And that translated into reduction in plant size as well as in retrenchment. And I think that is why we saw an increase in unemployment, particularly in urban areas.
So now, are you surprised that rural unemployment was also high at 4.0%?
No, I'm not. I'm not surprised, because even if you look at the proportion of the working age population that is engaged in subsistence agriculture, I mean, most of whom you will find in rural areas, you'll notice that that dropped to about 4.1% from 4.8%. And so I would attribute the rise in unemployment within rural areas to insecurity challenges affecting the farming belt altogether. And that affected both commercial and subsistence farmers. So, it cut across the board. So, as I said, I'm not surprised at all that even rural areas are seeing such high levels of unemployment.
So let's talk about the way forward now. How can the government decelerate urban and rural joblessness? Are there low-hanging fruits to achieve this both at the federal, state, and local government levels?
Well, what I think needs to be done is to appreciate what the challenges are. Some of these challenges were already mentioned. It's obvious that the effective evaluation policy has gone awry. It's made life difficult for business people, manufacturers, and even farmers who, to some extent, rely on diesel, and even their fertilizer is related to imported. To the importation bill or import bill of the country. So I think what needs to be done is to reduce tariffs and duties on important inputs that manufacturers and even farmers rely on. the government needs to also be more forthcoming with its palliative measures. It announced in times past some grants to businesses. I think it's time that we began to feel some of these palliatives. It would be very much needed. Also, it's important to improve road infrastructure. When logistics are high, businesses tend to either reduce the scale at which they operate, or they even downsize and reduce the number of staff they employ. Also, I think it's important for us to talk about our gas infrastructure. It's time for the government to help the business people generally, manufacturers, industries, farmers, and all to be able to operate at a lower cost by providing them gas alternative to power supply. Then we need to address the FX challenges. The big elephant in the room. I think what needs to be done in that regard is to ramp up our crude oil production and possibly offer equity stakes in redundant national assets. I think if we do that, we should see a major improvement in FX flows and then help bring about some stability. Without that, really, I think much of what we'll be talking about is just wishful thinking. So finally, I think it's important to also talk about the side of employability. So if you notice, a lot of even the people who this methodology, labor force survey of the National Bureau of Statistics puts as employed are people employed within, informal jobs. So what we need to do is to see them transit from these informal jobs to much more high-paying, high-skilled jobs, and that cannot be done without training. So there's a need for training. The government needs to embark on broad training, and yes, I think that is some of the things the government needs to do in order to improve our employment numbers.
All right, Abdul Kudus Isiaka, economist and researcher, thank you for your time this morning, and we wish you the best for the rest of the day.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. I am Aramide for Lauren Shaw, and that is your business now for today, Wednesday, the 21st of February. Do have a great day ahead, everyone. It's bye for now.
This is 95.3 Business Now.